Hey guys, how you doing? It's been a while. At this point, every single one of my videos is gonna morph together because I've been saying the same thing, like, what a surprise, it's been a while and I'm filming again. We'll figure it out at some point. My camera is broken, so it's been really annoying to film with this camera, and because of that I don't feel motivated to make videos. So anyway, I'm not gonna make this intro long. I need to keep it short and sweet because we have a lot to cover today. Today I'm literally just sitting down and telling you guys my Disney college program story. For a lot of you who are on here, because most of you are here from that part of my life because I vlogged during my college program, I literally have like detailed notes to follow so that I don't miss anything that I want to say, because I'm just kind of telling the whole story. But anyway, before we get into that, I do want to mention today's sponsor. I wanted to thank PERRI FOIA, who's sponsoring this video. PERRI FOIA is a jewelry company. They sent me 3 really pretty pieces that I already love and I'm wearing right now. I'm going to show you guys close-ups so that you can see them, but I'm going to go into each one specifically. So first up is these earrings that I'm wearing. They're really small, which is typical for me. I don't like to wear big earrings, but they have this diamond kind of detailing in them, which I really like. I don't really own any jewelry like that, and I like it because it's something you can definitely dress up with or dress down with. They're almost like little hoops, I guess you could say, but they don't dangle or anything, which I like because, again, I like small jewelry. Next is this ring. This ring is the perfect addition to my ring collection because I really was in need of something simple but yet had a little bit of a detail to it, which is exactly what this ring is. It's just a simple gold band, but it has that kind of like pattern to it. It already looks good with my new nails that I have right now. So I don't normally wear bracelets, but this one caught my eye. It has the same kind of diamonds in it that the earrings do, which makes it look like it's for more of a dressed up occasion, and I definitely think that I'm going to be wearing this for those kind of things where I'm dressed up, and I really like that because I honestly don't own anything for that kind of occasion, so this definitely will be a good addition to that sort of thing. One quick thing about PERRI FOIA is that all of their jewelry has always been gold plated. However, they're kind of going through a transformation in their line right now. So the new line that they just released has sustainable jewelry, and it's also very affordable, which I appreciate considering that I'm always on a budget. So I definitely recommend their jewelry if you want to check out their website. But in addition to that, if you want to purchase anything from their website, I do have a discount code that you can use. It's going to be Bella20. I'm going to put it on the screen. However, you don't necessarily have to copy the discount code because you conveniently have a link in my description box that if you click on it and you purchase your products through there, it's actually going to automatically go on your purchase, so you don't even have to put the discount code in. It'll just automatically apply at your checkout. But either way, I will have the discount code in my description box as well, so the link and the code will be there for you guys to see. So thank you again to PERRI FOIA for sponsoring this video. I love my pieces. I'm excited to keep wearing them and style them with all of the outfits that I wear on a daily basis. So without further ado, let's get into this video because I need to literally rapid fire start spitting all my DCP facts and moments and just everything that I have experienced with the program. This video is highly requested. I have gotten it many times through time, and I haven't actually filmed it before because I wasn't sure if I needed to film it, because I have made a lot of videos on the college program, although a lot of them have been kind of more informational. So one thing I want to clear up before I get into this: if you have questions about the program that you want to ask me, you're more than welcome to comment them below and I will answer them. However, I do have an informational video. Well, it's broken up into 2 videos, just answering all kinds of Q&A things for the college program. I can either put those in my description box, or I also have a playlist that's titled Disney College Program, so that's gonna have all my vlogs, anything related to DCP, any informational videos, like whatever it is that I've done related to that topic, it's gonna be under there. And I'm gonna add this one to it as well. But this one is more of just retelling my story, like what I experienced, etc, etc. Also, I figured this was a great time for me to make this video because exactly 2 years ago, I was just starting my program. Today is the 7th of August. My move-in date was August 5th. It's been exactly 2 years since my program, which is insane. It feels like it was yesterday. So let's get started. So we're gonna start with when I applied to the program. Gosh, this was so long ago. I was in college. I was in my senior year of college. I wanted to wait until I was in the last stages of college before I did it, because you can do it in the middle of college. But because I am from Maryland, which I don't really prefer, I didn't really like it there, I knew that if I went to Florida, did the program, and then had to go back, you would have to rip me from this place. to go back to Maryland to finish school. So I applied for the fall of 2019, which was gonna be right after my graduation, which was in May of 2019. I'm not gonna get into specifics on the application, but there is a 3-step process. For the first application, it's just the initial online one. Well, the thing was, after I filled mine out and sent it in, everyone was getting theirs back maybe within the next couple of days. So the second step of the application is basically a computer graded test almost, where you answer questions. But anyway, that's the second thing that you get, and that's what you're waiting on if you pass the first step of the application. Everyone was getting it within a few days, and I would say I got mine after maybe 2 weeks. And I remember I was freaking out the whole time because I was seeing other people that I had met through the Facebook group. There is a Disney College Program Facebook group. All of them were getting it pretty fast. I was so nervous, but I did get it after 2 weeks. I passed it, and then I scheduled my interview, and then I had my interview. The role that I wanted was Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. I believe it's still a role in the college program. I don't know. I know a lot has changed since I did it. After the interview, it went really well. I did feel like I rambled a little bit, which is what I do when I'm nervous, but I'm sure everyone does. But after the interview, I remember there were a couple of waves of acceptance, and I remember, I know I wasn't in the first one, probably not the second. I was probably like a couple waves in. So let's get into the story of me getting accepted. I was at school. I remember we had a cafe in our school. I was sitting with my best friend, and I remember ironically in that moment right before I was accepted, I was talking to her about how I was worried that I wasn't going to be, just because I have anxiety and I freak out, and that's like the thought that's gonna pop into my head is you're not getting in. I had my phone in my hand, and the email popped up on my screen, and it said like Disney College Program or Disney Recruiting or something. And I remember thinking like, wait, this is probably the email that tells you if you're accepted or not. Turns out I was accepted, and I freaked out in that moment. I surprisingly didn't cry, which I thought I would, but I think I was so freaked out that I couldn't cry. By the way, throughout this video, if I can, I'm gonna try to insert pictures or videos. I don't really know if I have any from when I was initially accepted and all that. Hopefully that'll make this video a little more interesting. Now moving into the whole roommate search thing. This definitely was around the same timeline as when I was applying, because when I first applied, I entered that Facebook group chat. That's when I joined that group. I remember talking with some people through there, meeting some people. You go on there to find roommates. You go on there and you answer like a roommate survey that basically put pictures of yourself. You say like, oh, am I quiet or loud? Am I messy or clean? Like that kind of stuff. Well, I met who ended up being one of my roommates, Maria, on there. She and I talked through there, and then we ended up talking with 2 other girls. As far as we knew, you were allowed to link up with up to 3 other people, so it would be a total of 4 people. It didn't work out because it turns out that they did not allow that. They only let you link up with 1. So I ended up linking up with Maria. So unfortunately, the 4 of us couldn't do that together. We did do roommate gifts for each other. When we actually arrived to the college program, we still did the roommate gift exchange because we had made them beforehand, so that was fun, but unfortunately we were not able to end up together, but that's okay. We still talked and hung out during the program. Flash forward again to when I got my role. So your role and not your specific location was actually mentioned in the acceptance letter. I forgot to mention that, but I did get food and beverage. It was not what I wanted, obviously, so I was a little upset about it, but not to the point where I was like, well, I'm not gonna do the program. And I still ended up liking my role, which I'll get into in a bit. So flash forward to like right before the program started. That's when they sent you your location and where you were living, because there used to be 4 housing complexes. Now they have only 1. It's been totally changed since I did it, but there were 4. I really wanted Chatham. There was Chatham, Patterson, the Commons, and Vista Way. I really wanted Chatham, which I did get, and then my location was Pecosville, which is in Frontierland in Magic Kingdom. I actually had not been there at all, surprisingly. I am a pass holder. Our family, we were all pass holders before I started my program, but I had never been to Pecosville. So for move-in, my move-in date, as I said, was August 5th. My mom and I took the auto train so that we could bring her car. We used our family car to bring all my stuff down. We got there a few days early because with our passes, we wanted to spend a couple days going to the parks, my mom and I, before I moved in. So flash forward to move-in day. Like I said, we got Chatham. We got a 6-person room. So there were 3 rooms, 2 people in each room, and the beds were side by side. So it was me and Maria, and then 2 other pairs of roommates that had linked up as well. Then of course there there was casting, which is when you go to the casting building. It's basically where like a lot of recruiters work, I think. It's where you get your blue ID, which is your official cast member ID. No matter what, if you're like in a college program or not, that's a cast member ID. You have an appointment to go there and you get that done. Then after that, my mom helped me move in completely so that my room was set up and everything. And then once she left, I believe we had a few days of like free time to do whatever. I believe it was the first night, me and all my roommates, we all went resort hopping. That was so fun. I know we went around to like the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian and stuff like that, and it was really fun. We have a couple pictures from that. And then when it comes to the next step is traditions, which is your orientation when you're becoming a cast member. One of the best things I've ever done. I'm not going to talk about that because I know that's something that you're not really supposed to talk about. You're not really supposed to tell people, and I'm obviously not going to post a video on the internet explaining what it is. I think it was after Maria had traditions. I went with her and some of her friends that she had met, and we went to see Happily Ever After. I remember that. It was just a group of random people. I didn't even know half of them, but we all kind of hung out and stayed to watch the fireworks. That was literally like probably one of the best things throughout my program, was watching the fireworks with friends. So then there was a welcome event that they had at the housing complex. The kind of stuff that's there is like a DJ, you can do character meet and greets. Those were crazy because everybody wanted to meet them, and it would be like maybe 2 characters, so the line would just wrap around like the whole area, the whole yard, or whatever you want to call it. And then there was a photo booth where you could use little props and take pictures. I have mine on my little cork board in my room right now. Literally one of my favorite memories from my program. So anyway, flash forward to work. We were given a training schedule. I believe that we had around a week, maybe a little under a week of training. I took the bus because I did not have a car. I guess I'll talk a little bit about working at Pecos. It's definitely one of the busiest quick service locations in Disney World. I remember a lot of my coworkers that started around the same time as me. They were overwhelmed, and I was too, not to the point where I felt like I wanted to leave, but I really liked the location. It was in the parade route, so like if I was ever working outside, bussing tables outside, I could watch the parade because all of the guests would crowd around the area, so it was literally impossible to wipe any of the tables. I also liked how close it was to Splash Mountain, so anytime I walked outside I would see Splash Mountain. We couldn't see the fireworks that night from our location, but every night I would sing the entire Happily Ever After song, and everyone would like laugh at me because I'm just a little too obsessed, but it's fine. That's one of my highlights, is just literally belting out Happily Ever After while I'm cleaning, because we didn't have guests anymore. We were closed at that point, so I was like, okay to do that kind of thing. And there were a lot of closing nights in the beginning of my program. I closed a lot, but actually as time passed, I closed less and less. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit about Halloween, because at this point, Halloween is approaching, and so the park is decorated for Halloween, and they're starting to have their Mickey Not So Scary Halloween parties, which is one of my favorite things at Disney World. I went to a couple of those, one of them being with my roommates, and I remember that was when I was first getting to know them. And I remember I dressed as Tafiti. I can put some pictures here. That was also one of the things I loved doing at work, which was working during the parties. We didn't really have anything different in our restaurant while the parties were going on, except for the fact that we were selling like a special Halloween dessert. We would see the Halloween parade come through, we'd hear the fireworks, we would get to see all of the guests wearing Halloween costumes and see all their cool costumes and what they came up with, so I liked that. I also do have a vlog of the Halloween party if you guys want to watch it. It is in the same playlist that I mentioned before. So flash forward again to Christmas. I know I said that the Halloween party was one of my favorite memories, but the Christmas party was probably my top favorite memory from my college program. And when I go back and watch that vlog, I remember how much fun I had. Me and Maria and Kendall and Brooke all went together and we made it a whole thing. We dressed up in like kind of Christmassy outfits, getting the free cookies, stuff like that, watching the parade, watching the fireworks, etc, etc. So also another thing during the Christmas time was that I actually worked some of the parties. The thing was, they would not schedule the CPs for those. They would schedule the full-timers, and the full-timers never wanted them, is the funny thing. You could trade shifts. So at midnight, I would get right on there and I would trade with them. And so honestly, I would get probably at least 2 a week. You get a special costume for it. We had pretzels. Most of the locations had cookies, but we had soft pretzels in the shape of snowmen, I think. There would be a cast member at the very front of the queue directing people to go to get in line, just telling them like, hey, we have pretzels here. I remember I did that a lot. There would be cast members giving out the actual food, and then some cast members kind of like wiping the tables down, whatever. So I'd do that every now and then, but there were definitely a few nights where when there was like a dull moment, which was usually at the fireworks and at the parade times, we would do kind of like fun stuff here and there because we didn't really have anything else to do. So I remember a couple of nights we would sing Christmas carols for the guests and they loved it. And then this one day, I will absolutely never ever forget this day. So there were some characters that did meet and greets during these parties, but other characters would do just kind of like roaming around. They'd stay within a general area, but they just kind of walk around, and if someone wanted to talk to them, they could. So where we were in Adventureland, where Tortuga is, Peter Pan would hang out kind of in the general area. A lot of the time people didn't even notice he was there, probably because there wasn't a line for him, so like he kind of blended in, I guess. So he would get bored too, and so he would just kind of like play around with us. And there was this one time where he and I did a fake snowball fight, and I remember he was like pretending to throw snowballs at me, and then he ducked behind something, and then I did the same thing. I literally loved that so much. I don't really have a timeline for everything that happened in between in this whole period, because my fall term of my program ended after December, so it was like January 5th or something. So I don't really have a timeline for everything in between, but some other highlights that I have written down here. Definitely character meet and greets. I would always do those in the parks. A lot of the times I would do it alone. If I ever had a park day alone, and it's really funny, I would get in line and it would be my turn, and the cast member would say, oh, how many in your party? And I would be like, oh, just one. And they would go, oh, okay. Anyways, a lot of the time I would do brunches with my roommates. We would make a brunch reservation at a restaurant at a hotel, sometimes one in the parks. Also just random outings to the resorts. We like to do photo shoots, my roommates and I. Another one of the things that happened during my time on the program was my Galaxy's Edge preview. That was when Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios first opened. I saved the brochure kind of thing that we got from it. I have that up on my corkboard. Also, I had the most amazing experience I think I could have. Even though it's not perfect, I didn't have a car, stuff like that, but I made the best of it. Anyway, I do have a couple more things to talk about though. We're not at the end yet, ladies and gents. Oh, one other thing I forgot was jelly rolls. That was one of my favorite things to do. So jelly rolls is a piano bar at the Boardwalk Resort. It's called dueling pianos. So it's like two guys at pianos, and they're each playing piano, but they're singing a song like together. And on Sundays, cast members get free admission. I would go with my friends and we would just sing along all night and have some drinks. So flash forward to the college program graduation. It was kind of similar to the welcome event where you got like free pizza and stuff like that, and there were character meet and greets, one of them being Mickey and Minnie in their little cap and gown, and there was a lot of crying, and yeah. And then I think like the next day or something like that, we went to Magic Kingdom and we took some pictures with our graduation hats. You get like a, I have it somewhere in my room, but it's like a Mickey hat, and then it has a little tassel on it. So yeah, that was the end of the fall term. Now I'm gonna get into a little bit on my extension. There's not as much to my extension because it was cut off by COVID, and so it was only a couple months. I didn't apply for the same role and the same location, although I could have. That was an option on the application. I realized later that I actually missed Pecos a lot more than I thought. But anyway, I ended up getting merchandise. So Maria and Brooke also extended. Kendall went home. The recruiters tried to keep roommates together so that they could still live with each other. I got the same one as Brooke, but Maria was separated from us, sadly. But we were in like walking distance. We were both still in Chatham. They kept us in the same apartment complex. We got the same complex and we got 6 roommates again. So it was the same setup as before, except the rooms were different. There were only 2 rooms, so there was a bunk bed and 1 regular bed on the side. And I, of course, got the top bunk. Nobody likes the top bunk. And it was fine. I still decorated it. So getting into my location was Tomorrowland. So Tomorrowland merchandise. It definitely was a lot more chill than Pecos, so I wasn't used to it, but I still liked it. The hours were very different. With Tomorrowland, all I did was close, and it was always till like 1 a.m. because Tomorrowland is one of the lands that's like open the latest when they have like after hours events and stuff like that. So I would work the ride exits that had like the little gift shops at the exit. There were a couple of gift shops like just indoors, and then there were some kiosks outside. So there was a lot of rotation throughout the day in terms of where I was. This next section is gonna bring the mood down a little bit, I will say, and I don't like talking about it at all, but just to give a little bit of a summary in terms of how my program ended. Now comes the COVID cutoff. And so I remember hearing rumors and talk about, oh, like they're gonna shut down Disney for 2 weeks and they're not gonna have us work for 2 weeks. And we thought it was like, oh, cool, like a nice little break. Turns out it wasn't 2 weeks. I genuinely did not think that they would send everyone home. Well, They did. It was rough. I was working and I was out at one of the kiosks. So I was by myself operating a kiosk. And so one of the coordinators was talking to me about it, and they had a meeting where they were gonna find out what was gonna happen. So she comes out of the meeting and she's just like, I'm sorry. And I lost it. I tried so hard to hold it together after that, because the problem was she told me in the middle of my shift. I'm going through transactions, like handing people their change back, like, oh, have a great day, as tears are streaming down my face. I'm not even kidding. So one of my coworkers came out to bump me to break, actually, but I walked back there and it's all the CPs and they're all crying and all of the coordinators are crying with them. Everyone's hugging. I remember I went to my coordinator and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I need to leave. Like, I can't work the rest of my shift, which that was literally going to be my last shift, and I couldn't do it. Hopefully nobody is judging me for that, because I'm not the kind of person to do that. It wasn't like I was almost done with my shift. I had several hours left and I knew I couldn't get through it. I know that's really sad, so I'm not trying to bring the mood down here, guys, but yeah. And so now we're gonna get into the last day that the parks were open. My mom came down to help me move out because I moved into where I'm living now, and the last day was very sad, very emotional, and all of the CPs were there. Like, I remember seeing every button, and we all had I'm celebrating buttons that said like mourning the DCP ending or like stuff like that. I went there with Brooke. We spent the day at Magic Kingdom, and what they were doing, which was so amazing, was they were allowing all CPs to go through the fast pass line. And then we did a couple of meet and greets. I didn't think I was gonna break in front of the characters, but turns out I did. We met Rapunzel first. I lost it, and so did Brooke, and we were just crying, and I literally have pictures from this meet and greet of us just tears streaming down our face as we're smiling. We laughed about it later, and I laugh about it now, so like, it's okay. But we did the same thing with Mickey when we, oh my gosh, that was brutal. At the end of the day, happily ever after was brutal. I literally could hear people crying. Like, that's how insane it was. And at a certain point before the fireworks had started, a group of people started to chant, and they were chanting like DCP, DCP. It was really cute. So, you know, of course, during the fireworks I was a wreck, and then as we're leaving, they had the characters lined up along the train station, which is right at the exit, including the chairman of Disney World, Josh D'Amaro. So he was there too. I hope I'm saying DeMaro? Josh DeMaro? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But he was there too. He was waving to everyone. That was definitely something I will never forget. And they were just saying like, you know, see you real soon kind of stuff. And that was the end of my college program. But I am still a pass holder, and that's how I'm getting into the parks and doing my Disney vlogs and stuff like that. I hope you guys liked this entire retelling of the story. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. It was literally the start of a whole journey. I now live in Florida permanently. I am a Florida resident. I have a Florida ID, which has always been my dream. So I'm super happy where I am. I would not trade that experience for the world. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new to my channel. As always, hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.